Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings. It was one of those days where market updates remained limited and moves are well contained. Starting with the yields, which seem to come off from their recent highs, especially on the long end of the curve. US 10s is down about 13 basis points from the 4.5% mark, while 30-year just holds below the 5% mark. Equities are doing fairly well, and dollar is currently not making further headway on its recovery. Gold is testing $3,400, but broadly things seem fine. Even the Japanese market, which opened today after a holiday, don't seem to be showing any major reaction to the election which was held on Sunday. Good morning, JK. How are you reading the latest set of moves?
Good morning, Swaraj. Yes, we did not have much of an economic update yesterday overall. Yes, the day started with the Japanese election result impact, and since it was not as bad as expected and perhaps well in the price, we saw the yen recover quite a bit, more than 1% from the weakest level. And also, the Prime Minister saying that will stay in office gave more confidence, led to the Nikkei also remaining in the positive territory today, yesterday being a holiday. But in the absence of the economic numbers, we had markets focus turning back to tariffs, which has August 1 deadline, and more focus is on the EU-US deal, where it can be quite a bit of negotiations involved. Europe wants a deal, but US demands have been growing. So there is a push by EU member countries to, retaliate by using one of their provisions, which is called the anti-coercion instrument, which actually can, which can actually empowers EU to take retaliatory action by measures like new taxes on US tech giants and targeted curbs on US investments into the EU. So it's a very strong move, if at all. But so far, even the US is not budging. I think it's all down to who will crack first. At the same time, we are also, hearing about the Japanese negotiator, Mr. Akazawa. Immediately after the election results, he is also, you know, been in Washington for negotiations because Japan has been slapped with 30% tariff, and being one of the largest exporter to the US, Japan wants to negotiate and get it down. Obviously, US wants some other concessions from the Japan as well. And finally, Scott Bessent, the US Treasury Secretary, also said that there will be many deals that will be signed before the August 1 deadline. Uh, at the same time, they are not going to rush for the sake of doing deals. He also mentioned that there will be some talks that will start with China very soon. And it will cover most of the points apart from the tariff as well. So we are looking at these developments of market. In fact, has checked along. S&P 500 and Nasdaq have notched the new record highs, and this is happening despite widespread concerns about tariff impact on the economy, and that at least the stock market seem to have ignored that so far. Although we did have a knee-jerk reaction on April after April 2 Liberation Day, and that has now fully retraced, and we are much higher from those levels. But these are quite important levels where we are trading now because all the markets have reached some sort of a new high, and I think market awaits some new trigger, either positive or negative, to take a direction. Currencies after yen climbed, I think it also pulled up other currencies. And dollar index has been trading at its weakest level of the new range, but has not broken the range. Euro and other currencies have seen good dip bias, against the dollar, and that is also in keeping with the overall trend or underlying sentiment towards the dollar. Gold took a step towards all-time high by rising more than 2%, test 3,400, but some profit taking is seen against uh, positions at these levels. European Central Bank is expected to meet this week. Today, we also have Fed Chairman Powell speaking at an event. Not very sure whether he will touch upon monetary policy issues, which has now become a very touchy matter. So possibly, he will avoid that. But there will be some speech by another Dove, by Mr. Bowman, who has been, advocating for early rate cuts and looking at weaker economy. So market will be looking at these things. Once again, the data slate is not very high. So focus will be on these events. Rupee traded weak on the weaker side past 2 weeks. Even as the dollar index has also traded slightly in a higher range, but rupee's fall has been much more, from its best levels as consistent buying by oil companies, FIs, and central bank rebuilding reserves has pushed up the dollar. Flows will remain key to rupee while other uncertainties like trade deal with the US, global risk sentiment, maintained will also have its influence. What we'll be watching is whether there is another rate cut from RBI when they meet first week of August. Although in my view it is unlikely, as they would want to assess the impact of the hefty cuts done so far. The risk for the rupee is that we cut rate further and US rate remains tight. That can lead to further weakness in the rupee due to dwindling yield differential. So I think policy moves, trade deals are on the radar as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And again, a quiet day yesterday, but there were some moves despite all the uncertainty when it comes to the tariff-related updates. Because now uh, there is some debate going on within the EU whether to use the anti-coercion measures, which would enable members to tax US corporations, among other things. Even Scott Bessent saying that many deals will be signed before August 1st, but they won't rush for the sake of deals, and talks with China are also expected to start soon. Broadly, equities remain at highs. US equities currencies were yesterday generally stronger against the US dollar. Gold took a step towards 3,400, but some profit taking is seen from these levels. Today we have got Fed Chair Powell's speech at an event, but as JK mentioned, not sure whether he will be speaking on the monetary policy. There's also a speech by Mr. Bowman, who is a known dove. Rupee traded on the weaker side yesterday, despite the slight cool off in the dollar's recent recovery. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up tomorrow with the fresh round of updates.